day, everybody. This is Yin Yang in California with Morsels of a Thought, number 1364. Get this set up right. I was setting up, I pressed the wrong button. There I go. I have 2 minutes more to go before I get here. Sorry about that. So, today I'm going to talk about Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider's books. The Rules Handbook has been daily reminders of the rules for 1 year. We are in course 4 in that, and they have compiled everything from all the rules books they have into the Rules Handbook. The complete book of rules apparently might have been published in the UK because there are UK dialectical words in here where I will go to look for what are the rules, and then we will go to Not Your Mother's Rules, which came out right before the Rules Handbook. Okay, so in the rules, what are the rules? How many times have you heard someone say, she's nice, she's pretty, she's smart, why isn't she married? Were they talking about you, perhaps? Ever wonder why women who are not so pretty or smart attract men almost effortlessly? Frankly, many women we know find it easier to relocate to another city, switch careers, or run a marathon than get the right man to marry them. If this sounds like you, then you need the rules. What are the rules? They are a simple way of acting around men that can help any woman with the heart of the man win the heart of the man of her dreams. Sound too good to be true? We were skeptical at first, too. Read on. The purpose of the rules is to make Mr. Right obsessed with having you as his by making yourself seem unattainable. In plain language, we're talking about playing hard to get. Follow the rules, and he will not just marry you, but feel crazy about you forever. When what we're promising you is happily ever after, a marriage truly made in heaven. If you follow the rules, you can rest assured that your husband will treat you like a queen, even when he's angry with you. Why? Because he spent so much time trying to get you. You have become so precious to him that he doesn't take you for granted. On the contrary, he thinks of you constantly. He's your best friend, your rock of Gibraltar during bad times. He's hurt if you don't share your problems with him. He is always there for you when you start your new job, if you need surgery. He even likes to get involved in mundane things, such as picking out a new bedspread. He always wants to do things together. And when you do the rules, you don't have to worry about him chasing other women, even your very attractive neighbor or his uh, bosomy secretary. That's because when you do the rules, he somehow thinks you're the sexiest woman alive. When you do the rules, you don't have to worry about being abandoned, neglected, or ignored. Good morning, Lisor Cantara. A woman we know who followed the rules is now married to a wonderful man who doesn't try to get rid of her to go out with the guys. Instead, he becomes slightly jealous when she does her own thing. They are very good friends, too. Men are different from women. Men are different from women. Women who call men, ask them out, conveniently have 2 tickets to a show, or offer sex on the first date destroy male ambition and animal drive. Men are born to respond to challenge. Take away challenge and their interest wanes. That, in a nutshell, is the premise of the rules. Sure, a man might marry you if you don't do the rules, but we can't guarantee that yours will be a good marriage. This is how it works. If men love challenge, we become challenging. But don't ask a man if he loves challenge. He may think or even say he doesn't. He may not realize how he reacts. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. Pay attention to what he does, not what he says. Read that part twice. As you read this book, you may think the rules are too calculating and wonder, how hard to get do I have to be? Am I never to cook him dinner or take him to the theater? What if I just feel like talking to him? Can I call? When may I reveal personal things about myself? The answer is, read the rules. Follow them completely, not a la carte, and you will be happy you did. Um, there are people who meet a man and they think, "Hi, John Clark. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning." In the USA, it is morning, and um, forgot what I was saying. Sorry. Okay. Um, the answer is read the rules. Follow them completely, not a la carte. Yeah, I'm saying don't just say, "Oh, well, I didn't call him in I didn't wait 24 hours to call him back because." Yeah, don't do that. And follow the rules completely, not a la carte, and you will be happy you did. How many of us know women who never quite trust their husbands and always feel slightly insecure? They may even see therapists to talk about why their husbands don't pay attention to them. The rules will save you about 50 pounds an hour in therapy bills. This is obviously UK, but of course, it's easy to do the rules with men you're not that interested in. Naturally, you don't call them, instantly return their calls, or send them love letters. Sometimes your indifference makes them so crazy about you that you end up marrying one of them. That's because you did the rules without even thinking about it, and he proposed. But settling for less is not what this book is about. The idea is to do the rules with a man you're really crazy about. This will require effort, patience, and self-restraint. But isn't it worth it? Why should you compromise and marry someone who loves you but who you're not crazy about? We know many women who face this dilemma. But don't worry, this book will help you marry only Mr. Right. Your job now is to treat the man you are really, really crazy about like the man you're not that interested in. Don't call. Be busy sometimes. Do all of this from the beginning, from day one. Do it from the second you meet him, or should we say, the second he meets you. Talk to you first. The better you do the rules from the beginning, the harder he will fall for you. Keep thinking, how would I behave if I weren't that interested in him? And then behave that way. Would you offer endless encouragement to someone you didn't really like? Would you stay on the phone with him for hours? Of course not. Don't worry that busyness and lack of interest will drive him away. The men don't like the men you don't like keep calling after you've turned them down, don't they? They do. Yes, they do. One time I was at a dance and I was ready to go home because I didn't see any cute guys that approached me. I had already got the rules in my head, and there was this one guy who talked and say it, don't spray it. He was always dribbling on my arm. And then I'd go to the women's room, and then I'd come back out thinking I was going home, and then he'd be there again. It happened 3 times. And then the fourth time, I just ran out the door. So I tell you, it's the same thing. Remember, the rules are not about getting just any man to adore you and propose. They're about getting the man of your dreams to marry you. It's an old fashioned formula, but it really works. We understand why modern career-oriented women have sometimes scoffed at our suggestions. They've been MBA trained to make things happen and to take charge of their careers. However, a relationship with a man is different from a job. In a relationship, the man must take charge. He must propose. We are not making this up. Biologically, he's the aggressor. Some women complain that the rules prevent them from being themselves or having fun. Why should dating be work? Some ask. But when they end up alone on Saturday night, they always come back to us saying, "Okay, okay, tell me what to do." Doing what you want to do is not always in your best interest. On a job interview, you don't act like yourself. You don't eat cake if you're serious about losing weight. Similarly, it is not wise to let it all hang out and break the rules as soon as you begin dating a man. In the long run, it's not fun to break the rules. You could easily end up alone. Think long term. Imagine a husband you love, beautiful sex, children, companionship, and growing old with someone who thinks you're a great catch. Think about never having to be alone on a Saturday night or on Saturday nights or having to ask your married friends to fix you up. Think about being a couple. Unfortunately, however, you must experience some delayed gratification in the first few months of the relationship to achieve this marital bliss. But has wearing your heart on your sleeve ever got you anywhere? There are many answer is no. The answer is no. If you the answer is no. People are like they're pleased or they're flattered to meet you, um, but they always say goodbye to you with a smile, and they never come back to try to find you. So don't wear your heart on your sleeve. Okay, there are many books and theories on this subject. All make wonderful promises, but the rules actually produce results. It's easy to know what's going on when you do the rules. It's very simple. If he calls you, pursues you, asks you out, it's the rules. If you have to make excuses for his behavior, for example, he didn't call after the first date because he's still hung up on his ex girlfriend, and you have to think about every word he said until your head hurts, then you call him, it's not the rules. Forget what he's going through, for example, fear of commitment or not ready for a relationship. Remember, we don't play therapist when we do the rules. If he calls and asks you out, it's the rules. Anything else is conversation. Conversation. If you want to have a conversation, well, remember that you're supposed to go leave after 10 minutes and everything. So we're at 11 minutes. Rule number 23 in Not Your Mother's Rules. The new secrets for dating. Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider, New York Times best-selling authors of The Rules. Rule number 23. Don't be self-destructive by dating married, unavailable, and other mixed messages. Keep this in mind because people who are narcissistic try to give you mixed messages, right? Well, guess what? When you do the rules, you never even have to find out he's a narcissist before he filters himself out. See that? Okay. As we wrote in our first book, say the authors, dating a married man is not only dishonest and wrong, but a sign of low self esteem and desperation, and nothing a rules girl would ever do. It's also a complete waste of time, as married men rarely leave their wives for the other woman. And even if they do leave, there is no guarantee that they will marry you, the home wrecker. And even if they do marry you, they will probably cheat on you too. So run the other way. It used to be that the only way a guy could cheat was to go to a bar or come on to his secretary or coworker. Today's world has opened up new avenues, and cheating has never been easier. Furthermore, social networking sites, online dating communities, text messaging, and email have made inappropriate or fantasy relationships with unavailable men accessible at the stroke of a keyboard. Some women reconnect with high school or college sweethearts on Facebook only to find out after a month of chatting that he is married and conveniently omitted his relationship status on his profile. Now, I have to say, when I was working in the pharmacy, there was this pharmacist guy that worked on Saturdays that was really cute and tall and kind of my type. And and he flirted with me a lot. It took maybe 4 or 5 months one day. He said, yeah, I'm married. I was floored. I was walking around. My other coworkers saw my face. I was like, why did he flirt with me? Why? Why did he give me those mixed messages? Jeez, that's really wrong of him. Really. I mean, he flirted with me. He really flirted with me. And the coworkers saw it too. I mean, it was unquestionably the wrong thing for a man to do because he gave the wrong messages to a single woman. Some women reconnect with high school or college sweethearts on Facebook, only to find out after a month of chatting that he is married and conveniently omitted his relationship status on his profile. Other women friend guys they meet at work or school on Facebook and end up in equally inappropriate or fantasy relationships with unavailable guys. Natalie, a 21-year-old college student, had a crush on her college professor, so she friended him on Facebook. He immediately accepted and was unprofessionally friendly. They, they, the relationship escalated quickly. They texted and messaged each other morning, noon, and night. Within weeks, they were hooking up in hotel rooms near campus. They were having a torrid affair. He told her he was unhappily married and planning to leave his wife, who was not on Facebook and had no idea what was going on. He constantly complained about his wife when they were out on dates, giving Natalie false hope that he was gettable. In the beginning, that's a good word, gettable. In the beginning, he took her to fancy restaurants, but within a month, they were eating Happy Meals in bed. By the second month, it was just sex, no dinner. This lack of courtship is typical when you sleep with a married man. He starts to treat you kind of like a hooker. Natalie began complaining that she didn't see him enough, certainly never on weekends or important occasions. She asked him at least to take her out for dinner for her birthday. He said he would see what he could do. He said he would see what he could do and then bailed on her at the last minute because his wife's sister was in town and he was stuck, quote unquote. He said he would make it up to her and send her cheap flowers. The following week, Natalie was texting him almost nonstop, but getting no response. She messaged him on Facebook. Where are you? What is going on? He wrote back, my wife is pregnant. I realized that I do love her and want to work things out. Sorry, but I can't see you anymore. He then blocked her on Facebook. Natalie was devastated and didn't go to class for a week. She could barely get out of bed, much less study. She lost not only her self respect, but also 6 months of her life to a cheater and a liar. And because she had isolated herself from her friends so as not to divulge her secret, she had no one to talk to when the relationship was over. Natalie was too embarrassed to tell anyone what happened, lest they judge her for having an affair. I have a friend that I had, I once knew somebody who became a professor at Purdue University and had an affair with her professor when she was a graduate student. Um, she came to visit me because this was sort of her hometown, and we went out to lunch, and she said she was in a relationship. And I asked her, "Oh, okay, cool, cool. What's he like?" And then she said, um, "Well, he's got two children. One of them's 4, and one of them is 1." And I thought to myself, "Shit, why is there a 1-year-old in his life? How could he leave his wife when the baby is 1 year old? How could he not have a wife at the time that the baby is 1 year old? He just had a baby. He just had a baby, so he couldn't possibly be unattached." And I thought that. Turned out she was having an affair with a married man, and the risk was her thing, and she enjoyed it. And the pinnacle of her relationship with him was that they actually did it in the wife's bed, which later on, as you can probably predict, um, they broke it off. He broke it off, and then the wife got rid of that bed because she knew that it was contaminated with this other girl's juju. So, um, this is a cautionary tale. Don't be Natalie. No matter how exciting such a relationship may seem at first, it never has a happy ending. The heartache always outweighs the clandestine dates and forbidden sex. When a woman tells us she is dating or in love with a married man and wants to know what the best way is to get him, we examine her dating history and other relationships to find out why she may be obsessed with unavailable men. Invariably, we find out that one or both of her parents were emotionally distant, and that is all she knows. So, no matter how unfulfilling her tryst with a married man may be, it's also comfortable and familiar. We tell women like this to break the self-destructive cycle by saying, "Next," and putting themselves out there to meet men who are truly available. You might argue, but he is so my look and type, and I never meet anyone I like. Or, dating a married guy is better than being alone. Or, he promised to leave his wife. If you find yourself making such excuses, tell the married guy to call you when he is separated and no longer living with his wife, and then don't give him the time of day, no communication, and get busy dating other people. Okay, one time, Sherrie and Ellen were both on the phone when we had this Rules telephone support group call, and Sherrie said, "Make sure that he's living far away from his wife, living far away from his ex-wife." So, she said far away because that means he doesn't go there and cheat on the mistress. You can easily waste years having sex in cheap hotels, believing in empty promises, and spending holidays alone while he's on vacation in Aruba with his family. It's important to note that married men are not the only men who are unavailable. Sometimes a woman will reach out asking us to get the guy in her office who stares at her, or the guy at the gym who always uses the treadmill next to her. "It's been 3 months. He looks at me, he flirts with me, but he never asks me for my number. What do I do?" Unfortunately, nothing. Sometimes guys like to flirt and are super friendly, but if they are not asking you out for coffee or drinks or a date, they might have a girlfriend. If a guy stares at you or even talks to you and flirts with you, but doesn't ask you out, it's a fantasy relationship. Don't try to move things along by sitting next to him or innocently suggest discussing your workout regimen over coffee. You will either get rejected immediately or create a relationship that was never supposed to happen and then get rejected later. Nothing good will come of it, so just don't go there. Sometimes a fantasy relationship begins with a guy friend who suspects you have always had a little crush on him. You've been hanging out a lot, and then one day he asks you if you want to try being more than friends. He might say he's always been attracted to you, but felt you were out of his league. First red flag. Okay, I'm going to read the last paragraph. Remember, today's new technology has brought fantasy relationships to a whole new level of bad. A guy can text a girl sporadically, making her think he likes her or that they're in a relationship. He asks her out only when he wants to hook up, but she can't really complain that she never hears from him because she stays in touch electronically. He will send frivolous "What's up?" or "How was your weekend?" texts and G-chats pretending to care about her, but it's really because he's bored and just keeping the relationship going so she is available when his dream girl is not, or when he has nothing better to do. Many women fall for these guys under false pretenses. They waste years on it. They waste years in on again, off again relationships, but we tell them there is no such thing. A relationship is either on with weekly dates or completely off. One of the reasons we wrote this book is to weed out these guys right away and prevent them from breaking your heart and wasting your time. Oh, okay. Old